Hello, everyone. Mr. Zern here with another vocab lesson. Now, in the previous lesson, we were talking about conditional statements, and basically, it's using programming logic to determine the next step, and it evaluates it in a true slash false, Boolean expression, and they're written as, if then. So, hey, if this is true, then do this, or an if then else. For example, if this is true, then do this, else do this other thing. So if the if statement isn't true, then I need you to do the else. All right, but inside conditional statements, we have two variations that operate similarly but definitely different. So the first one is a chained conditional. All right, so a chained conditional, and a chained conditional stops at the first true statement. All right, so you can kind of see there on the right what that would look like in App Inventor. And again, you could click the gear. We could click that little gear there, and you could add, additional, chain conditional statements if you wanted, as many as you would need. So basically, it's hey, if this condition is true, then do this action. So again, we're used to that if then situation. Else if this other condition is true, then do this action. But it's going to stop at the first one. So if the first condition is true, it does the then, and it just stops there. All right. And so the way I always remember this is like a chain conditional is I think of a chain hanging there, and if someone cuts the chain, the rest of the chain falls away, and so the chain just stops there wherever I cut it. So imagine, what if the first true action is sort of cutting that chain, and then the rest of the chain just kind of falls away, and it can't do or climb further down the chain because the rest of the chain has disappeared. So we'll see some examples here in a minute of kind of showing you how this could work. But if this condition is true, then do this action. And if it isn't, then it moves on to the next one. And it says, else if this condition is true, then do this action. And so if the first condition is true, it's going to do that first action and just stop there. But if it's not true, it moves on to the second one. And if that one's true, it does that action, and then it would stop there. But if that one isn't true, it would go on to the next one. And if it's true, it would stop there. And if not, it would move on. It would just keep moving down the list until it gets to an action that is true. All right, so that is a chain conditional that stops at the first true statement. It does the action and then stops there. All right, the other one is a stacked conditional, and this checks each statement. All right, so even if it's true, it'll do the action. So if this condition is met, then do this action, and if it's true, it'll do that action, but it will then move on to the next one. And so if this action is true, then do this thing, and if it's true, it will do it. So it could do, in this example, it could do the first two, but it'll keep going. It might do all three, as in the picture there on the right from App Inventor. It might not do any of them. It might do the first one, not the second one, but then the third one. So unlike the chain conditional where it stops at the first true action, this one will do all of them, as many of them that are true. Now, is one better than the other? It really depends on what you're doing. So I guess the short answer is no, but there are times when we'll definitely need to use a chain conditional because theoretically there are other conditions being met, but we don't want them to happen if, for example, the first conditional is met. And there are times that maybe we want multiple things to happen. And again, I think we'll kind of get an idea here in the next slide. So here's like a chain conditional, and if you aren't yet, you'll soon be working on this guessing game. And so this is a chain conditional. So keep in mind it's going to stop at the first true action. So with the guessing game, if you haven't gotten to it yet, basically there's going to be a secret number, and you're trying to guess it, and the program is going to give you some feedback, basically in the form of, hey, you should guess higher or you should guess lower. So if basically the secret number is less than your guess number is less than the secret number, then the action says print higher, and it would just stop there, right? Boop, and it stops, and then the user can then add their second guess. But let's say their next guess that's not the case. So if the number guessed is less than the secret number, then they should guess high. But if that's not true, it moves on to the else if. Hey, if the guess number is greater than the secret number, then it would say guess lower. And if that condition is true, it does that, and then it just stops there. And then, of course, the final action, if you guess If the first one isn't true because and the second one isn't true, then what's the only alternative left? Well, they had to have guessed correctly. And so this here we can kind of see that chain conditional. There will definitely be time. Now here you could theoretically use a stacked conditional, and it would probably work as well. But there are definitely times where I want this, I need this to stop, or it'll wreck things farther down the line there. All right. So the big piece there is we've got a chain conditional, and that stops at the first true statement. Typically, that's sort of this if then, else if type of statement. So stops the first true statement. The second one, the stacked conditional, checks each statement. You can just keep, in this case, we just keep dragging them out of App Inventor, and you can see there's again, 3 of them stacked up there. So, hey, if this is true, then do this. And hey, if this is true, then do this too. And if this is true, then hey, do this too. While the chain is going to stop at that first one. And I always think of it as an actual chain hanging there, and that first true statement just kind of cuts the chain, and then that's the end of the chain. All right, guys, so take a look there. Good luck. Again, that's a little bit tricky. The two of them sound similar, but definitely act a bit differently from each other. All right, we'll talk to you later.